Rex Harrison, the legendary actor behind My Fair Lady and countless stage and screen performances, was widely admired for his charisma, charm, and undeniable talent. But behind the spotlight, not everyone shared that admiration. One prominent Hollywood figure, whose name is now revealed, harbored a deep resentment toward Harrison, a hatred that lasted for years. The reasons until recently were shrouded in mystery. Unlike the public persona of wit, sophistication, and elegance, Harrison could be difficult, demanding, and at times manipulative. Colleagues often whispered about his temper, arrogance, and the exacting standards he imposed on co-stars. While audiences loved the final product, those working with him sometimes endured tense sets, conflicts, and egos that clashed with even the most seasoned professionals. This particular actress, known for her talent and grace, eventually reached a breaking point. The experiences she endured alongside Harrison revealed a side of the actor rarely seen by the public, a side that inspired frustration, anger, and lasting animosity. Her accounts shed light on the darker realities of working with someone whose brilliance came with an exhausting personality. Now, after decades of silence, the reason behind her deep dislike of Rex Harrison is finally clear. It is a story of artistic clashes, personal slights, and the kind of tension that can simmer quietly on set only to explode when patience runs out. Hollywood, for all its glamour, can be unforgiving. And this revelation reminds us that even the most celebrated stars have a human side flawed, difficult, and sometimes impossible to endure. The first time she worked with Rex Harrison, the tension was palpable. While the actress admired his talent after all, Harrison was a master of his craft. She quickly realized that his brilliance came with an ego that could overshadow everyone around him. On set, he demanded perfection, often without providing guidance or support. Mistakes, even minor ones, were met with sharp remarks or visible irritation, creating an atmosphere of unease. It wasn't that Harrison lacked skill. He was meticulous, precise, and completely devoted to his roles. But this dedication translated into impatience with others. The actress, herself accomplished and experienced, found his behavior draining. Scenes that should have been collaborative became battlegrounds of control as Harrison asserted authority over every nuance, tone, and gesture. Over time, small slights accumulated. Remarks that undermined her confidence, dismissals of her input, and public displays of irritation created a toxic dynamic. She began to dread scenes that involved Harrison, not because of the work itself, but because of the stress his presence induced. It was a clash of temperaments. Her desire for collaboration and mutual respect collided with his insistence on absolute control. Colleagues noticed the friction. Some attempted to mediate or lighten the mood, but Harrison's personality left little room for compromise. While the public saw charm and elegance on camera, the behind-the-scenes reality was tension, frustration, and growing resentment. For the actress, it wasn't just a professional challenge, it became deeply personal. She respected his craft but could not respect his behavior. And that conflict slowly festered into outright dislike. By the end of production, her feelings had crystallized. Harrison's talent was undeniable, but the experience of working with him revealed traits she found intolerable: arrogance, a lack of consideration for others, and a stubborn refusal to collaborate. What might have been an opportunity for camaraderie instead became a lesson in patience, boundaries, and navigating personalities that clashed despite shared goals. This of her life, long kept private, explains why her aversion to Rex Harrison was so intense. It wasn't born from jealousy or petty grievances, it stemmed from direct experiences that left an indelible mark. Working alongside someone whose brilliance was matched only by difficulty can be exhausting, and for her, Harrison represented precisely that paradox: extraordinary talent, intertwined with frustrating human flaws. As filming progressed, the tension between the actress and Rex Harrison intensified. What had begun as subtle clashes became unavoidable conflicts. Small disagreements over lines or timing quickly escalated into full-blown arguments, leaving the set charged with anxiety. Colleagues tried to maintain professionalism, but it was clear to everyone that the working environment had become strained. Harrison's behavior was often unpredictable. On some days, he was charming and engaging, easing tension with humor or a thoughtful gesture. On other days, he could be cutting, dismissive, or outright hostile, leaving co-stars walking on eggshells to avoid provoking him. For the actress, this inconsistency was exhausting. She could never anticipate how he would react, which made collaboration almost impossible. One incident in particular became the turning point. During a critical scene, she offered a suggestion she thought would enhance the performance. Harrison, however, dismissed it outright and publicly criticized her approach, questioning her understanding of the character in a way that embarrassed her in front of the crew. Colleagues watched in stunned silence, aware that the tension had reached a level few could endure. For her, it was no longer just frustration, it was personal. Beyond professional disagreements, she began to notice patterns in Harrison's interactions with others. He frequently undermined co-stars, disregarded input, and prioritized his own interpretations over collaborative effort. Even those who had long admired him began to avoid confrontation, realizing that challenging him carried emotional cost. The actress, however, refused to accept a behavior that compromised her dignity and artistic integrity. Each encounter left her more determined to assert herself, even as Harrison's temperament made every exchange a test of patience. The breaking point solidified her feelings. Talent alone could not excuse arrogance, manipulation, or lack of respect. She respected Harrison's abilities, yes, but she could not reconcile them with his treatment of others. The experience revealed a man whose brilliance on screen masked a controlling, often cruel personality behind the scenes, a personality that could diminish the confidence and morale of those around him. Even after production wrapped, the resentment lingered. Every memory of those days reminded her of how challenging it had been to work alongside someone so gifted yet so difficult. She realized that Hollywood had a tendency to celebrate talent while overlooking flaws in character. But for her, the lessons were clear. Respect, collaboration, and integrity were non-negotiable, and talent alone could never replace them. Colleagues later confirmed her impressions. Many had privately shared stories of being belittled or manipulated, but few spoke out publicly. The actress's candor now sheds light on what had been an open secret in the industry for decades. It wasn't just personality quirks, it was a pattern of behavior that left a mark on everyone who worked closely with him. Ultimately, explains why her dislike for Rex Harrison endured long after the cameras stopped rolling. It was not born from rivalry or envy, but from direct, repeated experiences that tested her patience, professionalism, and personal boundaries. Harrison's genius was undeniable, but so was the difficulty of working with him. For her, the conflict was a reminder that true greatness in Hollywood is measured not only by talent, but by how one treats others by the end. It becomes clear, her feelings were justified, deeply rooted in real experiences, and reflective of the challenges many face when collaborating with brilliant yet difficult personalities. The story stands as both a personal account and a cautionary tale about the human side of Hollywood legends, reminder that charisma and skill do not always equal kindness, and that the brightest stars can sometimes cast the darkest shadows. Even years after working with Rex Harrison, the actress's memories of those tense days remained vivid, while Harrison's on-screen performances continued to receive acclaim and admiration. The behind-the-scenes experiences left a different kind of impression, one that colored her perspective on the industry, collaboration, and personal boundaries. The intensity of her interactions with Harrison had forced her to develop a keen awareness of the personalities around her. She learned quickly that talent could never excuse behavior that was disrespectful, manipulative, or dismissive. This awareness became an essential survival skill in Hollywood, where egos often collided and the cost of confrontation could be high. Harrison had unwittingly taught her that maintaining one's dignity and integrity was as important as perfecting a performance. In interviews years later, the actress rarely spoke about Harrison publicly, choosing instead to focus on her accomplishments and positive experiences. But privately, the lessons were unforgettable. She realized that navigating Hollywood required both talent and discernment, recognizing not only who could elevate her career, but who might also compromise her professional or emotional well-being. Harrison represented a cautionary example of brilliance entwined with difficult personality traits. Despite the animosity, the experience also strengthened her. She became more confident in asserting her voice on set, standing firm when necessary and advocating for herself and others. It was a difficult education, but an invaluable one. She learned that professionalism involved not only skill and dedication, but also the ability to manage complex interpersonal dynamics without sacrificing self-respect. Interestingly, this animosity did not entirely overshadow her understanding of Harrison's talent. She acknowledged his genius, the nuance he brought to his roles, and the undeniable charm that captivated audiences worldwide. Yet talent alone could not erase the frustration and conflict she endured. This duality, admiration for ability and disapproval of behavior, remained at the heart of her sentiments. Also explores the broader implications for Hollywood. Many actors encounter difficult personalities, but the public rarely sees the toll exacted behind closed doors. By speaking candidly, the actress highlights a truth often hidden. The industry can be as challenging emotionally as it is creatively. Her story reminds audiences that legends are human, capable of brilliance but also imperfection, and that collaboration requires respect, patience, and communication. Regardless of star power, her reflections underscore why her feelings were so enduring. Harrison's behavior had lasting consequences, shaping the way she approached roles, co-stars, and professional relationships. It was not merely about one production or a single clash, it was a formative experience that influenced her career trajectory. Decision-making, an understanding of personal boundaries in a demanding environment, ultimately demonstrates that hatred, when grounded in real experience, can coexist with professional admiration. She respected Harrison's craft but could not condone his conduct. The tension between these truths encapsulates the complexity of working with a star whose brilliance is inseparable from their difficult personality. As she looks back, the actress frames her feelings not as bitterness but as lessons learned. They taught her resilience, assertiveness, and the importance of prioritizing both personal and professional integrity. While Rex Harrison's legacy on screen is immortalized, the experiences behind the scenes offer a more nuanced view, one that includes admiration, frustration, and the enduring consequences of human behavior. As time passed, the actress came to terms with her experiences working with Rex Harrison. While the animosity she felt during production remained, it gradually evolved into a complex understanding of who he was, a man of immense talent, but also of flawed humanity. The lessons she learned from that difficult working relationship became part of her professional toolkit, guiding her through future projects and shaping the way she navigated Hollywood's unpredictable terrain. She reflects that Harrison's brilliance on screen often overshadowed his challenging personality off-screen. His charisma and talent captivated audiences, earning him accolades and admiration worldwide. Yet for those who worked closely with him, the experience could be exhausting, frustrating, and sometimes demoralizing. The actress's candid acknowledgement of these challenges provides a rare, behind-the-scenes perspective that contrasts sharply with the public's perception of Hollywood legends. Over time, her feelings matured. She no longer carried active resentment, but neither did she forget the difficulties she endured. Instead, the experience became a touchstone, reminding her of the importance of maintaining personal boundaries, asserting her voice, and prioritizing integrity above deference to star power. It reinforced the lesson that talent and charm do not excuse behavior that disrespects others, and that even in a world enamored with celebrity, personal dignity must remain a priority. Also highlights how these experiences informed her broader approach to collaboration. She became more discerning about the people she worked with, learning to identify when genius might come at a cost to her own well-being. The challenges with Harrison strengthened her ability to handle difficult personalities without sacrificing professionalism or creative vision. It was a tough education, but one that ultimately empowered her. Despite the tension, she acknowledges that Harrison's impact on cinema was undeniable. His performances were masterful, his stage presence magnetic, and his career extraordinary. Admiration for his craft and acknowledgement of his contribution to the industry coexist with her personal experiences, illustrating the complicated nature of human relationships in Hollywood. Talent, after all, does not erase human flaws, and brilliance can exist alongside behaviors that are difficult or even hurtful to those in close contact. Ultimately, the story of her hatred toward Rex Harrison is more than a tale of conflict. It is a story of personal growth, resilience, and understanding. She learned to navigate a world filled with exceptional talent and strong personalities, emerging stronger, wiser, and more confident in her ability to maintain self-respect. The experience became a benchmark for professionalism, guiding her interactions and decisions long after the cameras stopped rolling. In reflecting on this of her life, she conveys a nuanced message. It is possible to respect someone's talent while rejecting the ways they treated others. Admiration does not require tolerance of mistreatment, and the two truths can coexist. Her candidness offers insight not only into Rex Harrison as a person, but also into the realities of working in an industry where brilliance and difficulty are often inseparable. By sharing her story, the actress ensures that audiences understand a more complete picture of Hollywood's behind-the-scenes dynamics. Rex Harrison's legacy on screen is immortal, but the experiences of those who worked with him remind us that even the greatest talents are human, capable of extraordinary art, flawed behavior, and lasting impact on those who cross their path.